Does Chronicle of a Death Foretold by Gabriel Garcia Marquez criticise the class system? I think it can be argued that this novella does criticise the class system, depending on how you read it. Two of the main characters, Beato San Roman and good old Santiago Nassar, are very wealthy in comparison to other members of the town. I think there's almost like a connection between them. Remember at the wedding of Beato San Roman and Angela Vicario, Santiago Nassar spends the evening counting up all the money it must be costing and calculating it. This shows that they think, Santiago Nassar thinks along financial lines about everything. He sees everything as having a price and a cost. And of course, Beato San Roman has that wealth. He has huge amounts of money. And he owns things such as a wonderful car and things like that, which can be seen as through metonymy representing his great wealth. And of course, at least indirectly, the great wealth of these characters causes problems within the society. Let me give you an example. Beato San Roman buys a house off the widower Zeus. This is the house he wants for himself and his wife to be, Angela Vicario. And he's been asking to buy this house off the widower Zeus, and obviously the widower Zeus really wants to keep the house, but in the end the money is just too much, and the widower sells up. He has almost, in the end, he's just weighed down by all this cash flashed in front of him, and he sells up, but it breaks his heart and he dies. 5 minutes later, indeed, he returned, that's Beato San Roman, to the social club with his silver-trimmed saddlebags, metonymy, and on the table he laid 10 bundles of 1,000 peso notes, metonymy, with the printed bands of the state bank still on them. The widower Zeus died 2 months later. He died because of that, Dr. Dionisio Iguaran said. He was healthier than the rest of us, but when you listened with the stethoscope, you could hear the tears bubbling inside his heart. That's quite a good quote. When you listened with the stethoscope, you could hear the tears bubbling inside his heart. That's in the widower Zeus's heart. Because just the money is too much. He's going to have to sell. The wealth represents too much power over him. He sells the house where he'd been so happy with his wife, who was no longer there. And his heart starts to break. But not only had he sold the house with everything in it, he asked Beato San Roman to pay him little by little because he didn't even have an old trunk where he could keep so much consolation money. So it's almost an act of violence to throw your money around in the society at people who are so poor that they literally almost cannot refuse, ending up, it ends up breaking the widower's heart. Santiago Nassar, in many ways, even if he did not sleep with Angela Vicario before the wedding, has done some awful. He seems to have some awful characteristics. He treats his servant girl Divina Flor, almost like a wild animal he is going to tame. He speaks to her as if she were his property. The time has come for you to be tamed. Does this treatment of people in lower classes stem from his tremendous wealth? And can that kind of a system be criticised? Perhaps it can. It seems that rich people in this town have great power. For example, it's kind of unbelievable to some of the members of the town, some of the people who live in the town, that there could be a murder because Clotilde Armenta tells her husband, you know, the Vicario twins are going to kill Santiago Nassar. And he says, "Don't be silly," he said to her. "Those two aren't about to kill anybody, much less someone rich." So, in this town, the rich are seen as being untouchable because of their wealth and their power. So, yeah, there are two very wealthy people in the town. Others, like the Vicarios, are poor. But perhaps the novel can be read in some ways as a suggestion that the rich and powerful, with all their wealth, are going to be defeated, have weaknesses. Don't forget, Bayard de Saint-Roman is, rejected, and he disappears from the town somewhat. Santiago Nassar is murdered. Is that a triumph of the working class butchers over the wealthy landowner? I don't know if that's what's meant by this, but maybe it could be interpreted that way. In any case, the fact that there are rich, powerful people in the town where this novel takes place, and that they are arrogant and almost bullies in some regard to the poorer people, might be seen as a criticism of the class system.